So, good morning, everybody, from whatever part of the world you come from. We're never quite sure, or where we feel we come from also. That also counts. And I usually forget to welcome those that may be on Zoom, so also very welcome. I forget about this more distant world, and maybe it's time to begin to remember it, for me anyway. So all welcome here today, and to this beautiful temple in the middle of our lovely city of Brighton. And Joe, I'd like to welcome Joe, who's our very special piano player today. Thanks so much, Joe, for being here and for playing so beautifully. I'm going to begin by lighting our candle. For me, this is the symbol of our Unitarianism, so it's the chalice which is open, and for me, the openness is really important. It's open to all beings, open to all aspects of our life. And when we talk about light, we must include darkness. I was speaking with my sister the other day. She said, for me, the light comes out of the darkness, and I believe scientific world would say much the same. So let us honor everything, shadows and light, which from the time we're in physical worlds, we experience, don't we? So when I light the candle, I like to light it to the highest source of light symbolically, so as to bring in the laws of harmony of the universe, harmony for any and all of us, which may be entirely different for each one of us. So put your own, let us join. I like to have the idea we join with our hearts and our heads and our spirit, our subtle bodies. And so put your own aim, your own wish for being here today. And as I light the candle, I'm going to also read a blessing. And the blessing is coming from the metta prayer of the Buddhists. I'll read part of it at the beginning of the service today, and the final part of it when we send our light out to wherever we decide each one of us to send that. So if you would like to join, please do. May I be peaceful. May I be happy. May I be safe. May I awaken to the light of my true nature. May I be free. May you be peaceful. May you be happy. May you be safe. May you awaken to the light of your true nature, and may you be free. Welcome, Susie. So my name is Safar, and I have trained within a One Spirit interfaith ministry, which for me the One Spirit is underlined because it doesn't matter where we're from, what denomination we may or may not prefer, or none, because it's the One Spirit that is with us from the moment we breathe the breath of life. So that's for all of us, isn't it? I do like this inclusivity because I learned very different when I was a child, and it was very difficult in those days. I wouldn't want to have to go back there. So the service is advertised as a pure land. Where or what is it? And I'm quoting a lot today from Thich Nhat Hanh, who was a Zen master. He was a Buddhist monk from his very young adolescent years. He was Vietnamese and lived through those terrible 10 years of war in Vietnam, where he was exiled from because of his peace movement, which is to me quite extraordinary. That you can be exiled from your country because you're working towards peace. And he was exiled for 39 years. Do come in, my love. Come and make yourself at home. You're very welcome. He died back in 2022, and he established in his many years in Europe a center which is very, very international, and there are many Buddhist nuns and monks and people come from all over the world on retreat and so on, and they visit many places. So his life has been so expansive, and for me, he was somebody who really walked his talk. So much of the quote, certainly the first half of the service, is from him, his works, and then I will introduce the second half with somebody else. So the other quote is from the Hidden Gospel of Thomas, and I've been very ignorant in my life, of course, and I never used to understand, why is it hidden? And of course, after Christ or Jesus, or there was much hidden, knowledge hidden, scrolls hidden to save knowledge. And they talk about many scrolls latterly being uncovered. So this quote is from the Hidden Gospel of Thomas, who was said to be the great doubter, wasn't he? How do we know? I don't. So the kingdom of heaven is like a mustard seed, the smallest of all seeds, but when it falls on tilled soil, it produces a great plant and becomes a shelter for birds in the sky, etc., etc. And we could refer to that tilled soil as our own heart, when we can open that heart like a chalice, when we can receive, and with the pure land, where is it? What is it? It's an expression of Thich Nhat Hanh, who is also referred to as Thai. The pure land is the kingdom of heaven. When we find a truth, it can be a Christian truth, it can be a Buddhist truth, it can be from any belief system. When it's the truth, the words may be different, but they mean the same. So when I lived for years in Mexico, which is where my heart was broken open from its hard encasement. So we often don't know that we're living with a closed heart, and it can be painful to have to find how to open it up again. But for me, that's really relating to the tilled soil. So how available are we to the pure land, to the kingdom of heaven? So we're going to be working a little bit with that. So shall we sing our first hymn for today, please, Joe? And you've got all your hymns up here, so it's 280 in the Green Book. And those of you who are happy to stand, please do. And if you're not, then that's fine too. Everybody is welcome. lovely words. We can't say there's much wet grass at the moment, but we can keep hoping and praying, can't we, for the rains from heaven. I shook my rain stick the other day and it rained, and I thought, it's worked, but it was very momentary. I'm going to read some quotes from Thich Nhat Hanh. Thai, we can refer to him if we want to. So the Pure Land is always available. The question remains, are we available to the Pure Land? The wonders of life are always there. Blue sky, white cloud, beautiful river, the rain, the flowers, the birds, the trees, the children. If we are mindful, if we can touch the wonders of life deeply, then the Pure Land, the kingdom of God, is available to us. And by the way, if there are any words I use like the word God, God was taboo for me for a long, long time. Translate them into your own preference. There's no do's and don'ts here. What rings right for you in your heart is what is right. So I'm learning not to struggle. So if we are mindful, we can touch the wonders of life deeply. Then the Pure Land, the kingdom of God, is available to us. And then that quote, I'm not very much of a Bible knower. I know some of the very well-known quotes, but those who have eyes, but maybe the eyes more reside in the heart. Maybe it's not so much about the physical. So how do we see life? How do we see our own life? Have we felt it's very challenging? Have we felt it to be difficult? Have we felt times that it's unbearable? Because we are human beings. I know I'm stating the obvious. I didn't want to be a human being. I would rather, at some point, not have had a physical body, and I was very disrespectful of it, let's say that. And so psychologically, I can think of myself many times just with the feeling of being on the run. Let me get out of here. So my learning has and is how to stand still, how to be present, and at the same time, how to be true to my heart. So quoting still from Thai, my definition of the Pure Land or the kingdom of God is not a place where there is no suffering, because suffering and happiness inter-are. So his phrase that he uses a lot is this interbeingness. He often talks of whatever being made of, for example, the human is made of non-human elements. There's an interconnectedness of all creation. Latterly, a word that came to me regarding our human body. I've been a body therapist quite a long time, for many years, and what I began to really value is the fascia of the human body. So the fascia, that's that underlying part of our skin that holds our sanctuary, the body, the sanctuary of our body, our organs and the functioning of our body, it's held by these very fine fascia networks. And then I allow my imagination to go further to see the cosmic fascia. And can we know that we're all held within that caring safety net? I was listening to a man who, on YouTube, he was talking about pre-life experience that he'd had, and very deep. His talk was very deep. It was over an hour long, and the person that was interviewing him, what's his name? Ferrari, I think. This man spoke about there only being love. So within that holding, within that sacred holding, there is only love. And sometimes it's really hard to know that, really hard to feel it. And when we're suffering, it's like, it's not true. So happiness can only be recognized against the background of suffering. So if we're only happy and happy and happy, like if we only see light and light and light, we don't know about shadow. We don't. So for me, I can capture what he's saying and I can acknowledge it, but it's living life, isn't it? And I also have the vision that, and this guy was also saying, we all plan our life. All of us. We are the architects of our life. We plan it for whatever it is we need to understand, we need to learn, we need to expand ourselves to. And I kind of feel our spirit when we come into this body, it's like this great spirit that's as wildly cosmic as the stars comes being sucked into this relatively small space. But please forgive me, that's my imagination. Nothing's written, but it is my imagination. So Tai is saying that this pure land is not without suffering. So what he's suggesting is that we're living in the pure land. But if our hearts are closed, if we've been hurt, if we feel we can't bear life, I know I had the feeling for a long, long time that I just wanted to escape. So looking deeply, we know that happiness is not possible when we don't have understanding and compassion, inner understanding and compassion. So if I'm hard with myself, if I'm telling myself, come on, Safar, get on with it, if I have no time, I think that book, what was it? The Boy, the Mole, the Horse, and the Fox. When the boy asked the horse one day, what was the bravest thing he'd ever asked? And do you remember what the horse said? Help. Help. Sometimes it can be hard to ask for help. You know, sometimes it's the last thing we want. Don't come near me. I certainly was one great rebel. Without compassion, you cannot relate to anyone and you can feel totally isolated. Tai, still speaking, my definition of the Pure Land or the Kingdom of God is a place where there are plenty of opportunities for us to learn, to be understanding and compassionate, and no longer afraid of suffering. And he says this is like being an organic gardener. So what is the classical organic gardener? We learn to recycle our old vegetables or what we peel from our, so we're recycling constantly, aren't we? And we form a compost. And then that compost, we put it back on the land to feed the land, and therefore our land becomes enriched. And could we say the same about and to ourselves? Could we say, one day I'd love to have, I think it would have to be a workshop anyway, of sharing people's lives and our pains and our joys, because I know that I've also been given many, many joys and much. I feel I'm very lucky. But if I can only see the darkness, if I can only see the pain, then perhaps I've closed my heart to being receptive to the joy. which can come, today I was walking along from the station, I live in Hastings, and there was a child of about, I don't know, maybe 3. I used to be a kids nurse in my very, very young days, and there were parents with her, and she was chatting away, and she was completely unaffected by anybody else that was around. She was lovely. It was just so sweet to hear her chatting on. The Pure Land, and it was like just listening to her as she walked along. It was wonderful. And then they passed me by, and still when they were further up the road, I could still hear this lovely child just chatting away, and the parents, wisely enough, letting her chat on. So we can ask, how was my childhood? How was my mother? How was my father? Etc., etc., etc. Our life is our history, and our life is part of this architectural plan that we've put into motion. And sometimes we can think, why on earth would I have put such a dreadful thing in motion? Why? And then the other question is, okay, however painful, what is it that I may have been learning in any one situation? Relationships can be incredibly challenging, can't they? We might begin madly in love with whoever, and we might even begin to live together, and then what happens? That old saying, familiarity. So it's to just consider our lifetime. And sometimes I've worked in therapy for a long time, I've been in therapy for a long time, and sometimes I've heard stories I thought, my God, how has anybody survived? We're incredible. Us human beings, we are quite incredible. We're multifaceted, for sure. We have many wonderful aspects about us. All of us, we're multi-talented, all of us. And we are quite unique. We might find similarities with others, but in our wholeness, we're quite unique, which I'm learning to honor myself, and therefore learning to honor others. There's no greater and there's no lesser. We all have that essence. We all have that mustard seed, which is the tiniest seed. And the more we can till the soil of our hearts, the more that mustard seed will find its freedom to root and open and blossom. So shall we sing our next hymn, which is 249, thanks Joe, A World of Wonder, I think. Thank you. Lovely words. I know I say this often, but sometimes I think we could just have a few hymns, and there's enough there to feel very enlightened, I believe. That's beautiful. And sister brotherhood, and even though we may look entirely different, and we may think, oh, well, I'm from another decade and I don't know what you're talking about. But actually, if we can join from the heart, there is a universal language which can be most inspiring. The wonders of life are right there. This is still Thai. The wonders of life are still right there in the present moment, inside of us and around us. Our brain, I hear questions, and what about the mind? Yeah, our brain is a wonder. Our eyes are a wonder. Our heart is a wonder. Every cell of our body is a wonder. All these things belong to the kingdom of God, to the pure land of Buddha. I don't want to ask forgiveness for an emotional body that exists within me, and sometimes I feel touched with the wonder. Because we can be so busy in life and we go about our nuestros quehaceres, our busy lives, and we forget the wonder. And of course, we can't stand in ecstatic wonder and do nothing. It is about finding a balance, isn't it? But we are a wonder. The more I know about the body, and I know very little, really, relatively very little, but what a wonder it is, and 100 and God knows how many cones and rods for our vision, and the complication of being able to hear, the construct of the ear, the construct of the body, and that it all functions as one between itself, of itself. I heard somebody, and it might have been Attenborough, I don't remember, saying, take one of our cells, put it under a microscope and see that it still produces its own light. How many cells do we have in our body? But we have lived in such a way that we tend to totally ignore their presence with a capital P. We get caught in our worries, in our despair, in our jealousies, in our fear, and we lose sight of the kingdom. We lose sight of the pure land. And that doesn't mean to say we've lost it. It's always there. And, to hear that guy, yes, he was quite young, but what he was sharing was incredibly deep. That is always with us. Wherever we are, whatever is happening, and he even dared to mention the name of Hitler, what is there? That is always there. And our learning is so profound. It has no limits. And our ecstasy can be limitless. And our suffering can equally feel limitless. So I think I have a lovely story that I want to tell you, but I'm not sure whether to tell you now or later. I might tell you now because it's something to meditate on. We're going to have a little bit of silence. So I shall tell you when you come back. So we're going to have a little bit of coming inside of ourselves. Travel inside of your heart. Bring your beautiful mind. Bring your mind into your heart into your mind, and just be with yourself for a moment. And whatever is there for you right now, whatever has been happening in your life latterly or in further time away, when you were a child, when you were in your teen years, when you were in your older years, just reflect a little bit. Equally, we can reflect on this beautiful planet. We can think about all the birds and the animals and the butterflies and the dragonflies and the ducks and everything that's in your near vicinity, anything that comes to mind. I'm going to be silent for just a few moments, and then I will ask our lovely Jo to play some music just to bring us back together again. So enjoy a moment with yourself and link into the breath, link into the breathing. This is Thai's deep meditation. It's always linking to the breath, breathing in. I know I'm breathing in. I'm breathing out. I know I'm breathing out. So if you can either close your eyes or lower your eyes, just so that each person has their own privacy during these few moments. Enjoy. The second half of this service, I'm quoting from somebody called Paul Farini, who is a great philosopher and has been compared to, I suppose, a modern-day Khalil Gibran. And the book I'm quoting for, he has various books. The book I'm quoting from is Grace Unfolding. And he's talking here about surrender. I heard a synonym of the word surrender the other day, which I rather liked, which is yielding. And I thought of a bullfighter. I have these weird visions in my head. I thought of a bullfighter going, ole, and letting the bull go by. Better than trying to oppose it, I would think. So the kind of surrender we talk about in this book, Paul Farini, is not surrender to an outside authority. You may be really relieved to hear. But to an inside one, surrender of the ego to the conditioned body. The ego consciousness are separate states of heart and mind. So it's when we have division within ourselves. It's when the heart tells us one thing and the head tells us something else, and somebody else tells us something else. So there can be a lot of confusion. The assumption here is that each one of us is capable of tapping into that greater consciousness and living from that greater consciousness, instead of from the fragmented, wounded victim. Are we capable of moving through our fears into the essence of love, which is the source of who we are? So what we're being asked to surrender to, but love can be equally incredibly challenging. And we're not talking about this romantic, I had the idea of I was going to meet my soulmate, and that was my idea of love, but love can be incredibly powerful. And maybe we could think it has nothing to do with romance at all. So love is everything, but it's the source of who we are. And I want to underline the word fear. I don't know if anybody of you have known fear at all in your lives. I know I have known a lot of fear. I know at times I've been paralyzed with fear. So that can be mentally paralyzed. It can be physically paralyzed. It can be incapable of moving forward out of any one situation that you may find yourself within. And fear can be incredibly deep. And the other thing, which is so important, is not to condemn ourselves. We're students in this incredible life, which really has no description. It's everything, isn't it? It's that violent storm, it's that beautiful sunrise. It's, in Mexico, when I was living with the earthquakes back in '85, the power that was released very early in the morning, that shook buildings, that looked so solid, that broke down buildings. That great power that I felt like I was like an infinitesimal nothing. And then in the evening of that very same day, there was this incredibly beautiful red sphere in the sky, which was the setting sun. So the extremes we see in this life, so we're not talking about some other planet. It's here. It is here. And yesterday I was in a meditation with somebody who was really underlining the now. This is an eternal now. Perhaps we are that eternal, present in that eternal now. Perhaps time is the greatest illusion. So now I'm going to tell you that little story I've been threatening. And this story, you may have heard it before, but anyway, we can hear it again. And it's about a lady, a señora, a lady who's living in India. And she's outside of her house, and she's hunting on the ground. She's hunting. She's been there for quite a while, and somebody's watching her, and he says to her, "Lady, can I help you?" Can I help you? What have you lost? She says, oh, I've lost my needle. Of course, we're going a few centuries back. She's dependent on a needle. She said, my livelihood depends upon my needle. He says, let me help you. So he begins to help her in her quest to find her needle. And after some long time, no success, and neighbors have joined in, he stands and he says, lady, could you be more precise in letting me know where you might have lost your needle, dropped your needle? And she said, oh yes, I dropped my needle inside my house. So he puts his hands on his hips, and so do the neighbors, and look at her. Are you stupid? They don't say it, but they look as if to say, well. And she then reflects, and she puts her hand on her hip and looks back at them fully in the face and says, well, she said, the light is out here. And he said, well, wouldn't it be better to take the light inside the house? Because you're never going to find the needle you lost. Inside the house, outside the house, wherever the light is. And then she doubly puts her hand on her hips and says, yes, she says, you are also very clever about the obvious. She said, but about the not so obvious. She said, what about that beautiful seed that you have lost, and you're out seeking it, searching it, in everywhere, every which way, in this person, in that therapy, in that treatment, in that. When are you going to look inside for what you've lost inside? And I want to underline, we haven't lost. It's like we've misaligned ourselves. It's like you aim an arrow and you've kind of misfired. It's still there, everything is still there. And it's just about us linking in to this mustard seed, to this essence, to this beauty that's been bestowed upon all of us, this love. All of us. There's no greater, there's no less, and this is something else we really I need to. Please know that I speak to myself and I tell myself, I've seeked every which where. I've given my power away to this partner, to that partner, to this belief system. And it's not about not going anywhere. It's not about not seeking. It's not about not studying. It's about seeking and studying, but from here. And then this is when the Pure Land becomes revealed to any and each one of us. You know, some people love music, some people love color, love diving, love whatever it is. We're all unique. Find what most, and then be real and be true to yourself. So she stomped back into her house, exasperated with the man and with the neighbors. She already knew, didn't she? She was a teacher. So remember, you are the child, we are the child kicking and screaming. And we are the one who holds the child with compassion. I love that expression. I love that description. When we're feeling tense or pressured, it's time to back off. Because when we're tired, we tell ourselves, just get on with it. We're constantly going against our natural nature. Constantly. Well, I know I was. Maybe you haven't been, I don't know. But you get to the level of being exhausted, you become impatient. So back off. Take a deep breath. Go out for a walk. Dance with nature for a while. Go look at a flower. Go hug a tree. Thai Thich Nhat Hanh was very much about being with nature, mindfulness, mindful breathing, mindful walking. Let's get present in our bodies. It was the last place I ever wanted to be, was in this body. Now, day by day, I'm learning to say thank you. Thank you for this body. Thank you because I can walk. Thank you because I can see, I can hear, I can breathe. So let's get present in our bodies, rest in the storm, in the eye of the storm. We can find that eye of the storm, that mustard seed. We can sink into that depth. We all have it. And fear can be the greatest enemy, but it doesn't mean to say we chuck it. We dialogue with it. What is the fear? What am I afraid of? What was I afraid of? I was afraid of what those religious nuns had told me, that God was having a hell for me to be burnt in and that it was judging every movement I ever made. I was terrified. I was terrified of that. Misinformation that I was given to teach young children such things is crazy, because then we grow with those kind of misbeliefs, misinformation. So let's be within the storm. Storms don't last forever. Behind the clouds is the blue sky. Dialogue with our fear. It's an essential part of creating a unity and an integration with our psyche. Invite your fear in. Listen to it. Dialogue with it. And then make an emotionally informed decision about whatever your life may be at any moment. Practice taking small risks that can open up new possibility in life. And fear is a great illusion. It's a great illusion. But my God, it doesn't half make us suffer at times, doesn't it? So I talk quite a lot to myself about bringing spirit into matter, living with that infinite beauty, infinite life. Take small risks, one step at a time. This is the mindful walking. We need masculine and feminine, so equally we can go back into our lives. How was my relationship with my father, with my mother? Did I know them? I had a lovely father, but once in my lifetime he beat my bottom black and blue, and unconsciously it left me with deep inner fear. So sometimes these things are not so complex. Sometimes it is about being able to travel. Yes, have a therapist. Ask for help. Ask for somebody to guide you. Sometimes it's important to have an outer voice to help you travel. But we need to find the balance between the male and the female within us. We are, all of us, part of that, aren't we? We're part male, we're part female, and that's the way creation happens and has happened for us. So if I'm fighting with either one of those energies, we're not talking about the man and the woman, we're talking about those energies that are part of the creation that I am and live with. So I've spent hours and hours and years in therapy. It's to come to terms with what I am. And whereas before my heart was very closed with fear to my father, it opens to see the many beautiful things that he gave me, showed me. Nature, he was very much a nature man. But one episode can sometimes be enough too, because we're self-protective, aren't we? In our life, we need challenge, safety, change, stability, awakening, nurturing. The more we balance these things within us, the better we can feel in our bodies. It is not necessary, you'll be relieved to hear, to cut off our heads, to dwell in our hearts. So for me, the male-female energies within are like that eternal figure eight, and the heart is in the middle. And equally, the mind and the heart, we can establish dialogue. There's neither one nor the other. How is the heart feeling? What is the head thinking? How can we find that dialogue to walk in harmony internally with ourselves? Finally, we can become free. It's not about if we're religious, not religious. For me, the word religion means to join our divine origin. We don't need a church to do that. But if a church, there are loads of churches, aren't there? There are loads of philosophies. I look at the whirling dervish, and I see that whirling dervish with a sphere of light in its whirling, connecting to its divinity. We all have our language. We all have our way. Music is a wonderful way to meet our Creator. Head and heart need to learn to work together. Be real with yourself. Be true to yourself. I never was able to dialogue. Never was able to express my opinion. Are you? So ask yourself these questions. And let's look at the shadows. There's no ogre that's going to be making us suffering. Sometimes we're our worst ogre, are we not? We begin. The mind understands what the heart feels. The heart listens to what the mind sees. They commune within each other. And as they do, integration happens within the psyche. The heart and the head need to take constant dialogue with themselves. And this enables us to take sensitive, intelligent choices for our lives. Your life is your gift. This guy was saying yesterday, people are queuing up to come down to earth. To be given a body is a gift. We're gifted. And I tell myself this. Please know I tell myself this. For a long, long time, I had incredibly unconsidered ways with myself. I was a hard taskmaster. What did I need to learn? I needed to learn some lot about being tender. So living in the heart means finding the place of acceptance within. Do we criticize ourselves? Are we forever saying it's not good enough? We should be doing more. I'm never gonna. So it's ask yourself these things. Come inside. This body of yours, this body of mine, it's your temple, it's your real temple. The sacred, the divine breath resides within each and every one of us. Makes no discrimination, doesn't matter our creed, our color, it's within the whole of creation. So find that place of acceptance. Rest in the realization of here and now. That you are worthy of love. You're worthy of that life essence. And as we practice acceptance and dwell in the silence of our heart, what we really want then becomes clear. Because sometimes people say, what do you want? It's like, I don't know, not sure, still looking, don't know. Or we might find something in a moment. Count the moments. Count all the wonderful moments that you felt, wow, whatever that is. You went to a concert, you saw somebody doing some wonderful acrobatics. Count the moments, count them. In Mexico, about money, we say, celebrate the little coins, and the parents come along. Celebrate the little moments. Celebrate those. Our life is made of those little moments. And I can turn around and I can say life has been incredibly generous with me for all of my rebelliousness. So dwell in this place. Find your thoughts, your feelings, your actions, and they become more and more congruent because we begin threading. We're all hunter-gatherers. This is our hunter-gathering of our life. Our life. It's irreplaceable. We become more honest with ourselves, more authentic, more compassionate, and therefore with others. Let's go to hymn 96. Joe, thank you. shadow. And I have, of course, forgotten. I come here and I forget everything. And I have forgotten to pass around these. So if while we're just completing our service today, these operations that we will ask helps very much the maintenance of our beautiful church and community and all the work and help that is done in the meantime. It stands strong in the centre of Brighton, doesn't it? So I hope this service today has given some space and some time for inner reflection. Whatever has been most challenging in any of our lives is going to be something that we need to solve, to find the answer to understand. And when we can come together as a community that's heart-centered, heartfelt, we can often find such richness between us all. And I read many years ago, I think it was the 11th insight from James Redfield, was it? When a soul group comes together, each puts a piece of their jigsaw puzzle life down and tells their story, and then another, and then another. One piece fits into another and to another and to another, and makes even more sense. Make that sense within yourself. You are your own teacher, you are your own guide and master. There are answers, and if you need help, remember the horse. What's the bravest thing you ever did? I asked for help. In Mexico, I have to acknowledge I've been given so much help, and in England. England to me was even a greater taskmaster. But let's sing our final hymn before we close our service today. 226, Song of Peace. So I'm going to send the light. I prefer to send it than to extinguish it. Link to your hearts, all of you. Ask yourself, where would I like to send that light? To the warring zones, to people that have no food, to your own self, to your family, to somebody you love who's suffering. Include what your heart calls include. Okay? And that light is for everybody and all of us. Bless you. And I'm going to say the very last part of that metta prayer, which includes all beings. So, may all beings be peaceful. May all beings be happy. May all beings be safe. May all beings awaken to the light of their true nature. May all beings be free. So I'm going to send that light link in. Joe is then going to play a last piece, and then we have Julie who's going to give some final church notices, and then we're invited to tea, coffee, and etc. So many thanks to everybody for being here today.
Sorry, I'm going to move this. I can't see anybody. That's better. Hello, everyone. Thank you. First of all, thank you, Safar, for your lovely service, and Joe for lovely playing, and Stuart for setting us up, and Patty, who's gone to make teas and coffees for us. Right, today I'm the welcomer here, so anybody who's new who would like to introduce themselves or wants any information about the church, please do ask me. Things happening in the week. Contemplative circle tonight at between 5 and 6 here. Quiet reflection on Wednesday, 1:15 to 2:15, with teas and coffees 12:30 to 1 beforehand. Heart and Soul this week, slightly different because of the eclipse. 8:30 start, just for half an hour, and reflections on the eclipse. And that's on Zoom, so if anybody is interested and wants to put their names on it, perhaps they can talk to Jen about that. No Friday concert during August, resumes in September. Other church events, next week is our anniversary. The church is over 200 years old, and so it's an anniversary service, which will be led by our minister, Reverend Jennifer Sanders. And after the service, there'll be a picnic, communal picnic, usually in the pavilion gardens, if the weather's okay. So do bring something, and everybody welcome. Another date for the diary, 6th of September, congregational meeting after the service, so to discuss matters of the church. Reminder, car payments, I think there's a car, machine over there, if anybody wants to make a car payment for donations. And thank you all for any donations you have made. And to those who make the monthly through the banks, thank you as well. Oh, a message from Fanny, a plea, please. Tea and coffee rota, which I've left over there. Patty is here today, for which thanks. I don't know if I thanked you or not, sorry, Patty. But if anybody can do tea or coffee, please put your name down. The rota's over there. And also credo walks. If anybody would like to go on a credo walk, link up with somebody and walk, talk, sit, chat, whatever, there's a sheet of paper over there if you want to put your name down. And lastly, Stuart is going to be playing his violin at 2:00 next Wednesday at St. Nicholas Church in Dyke Road, and he's playing Bach and other folk music. Some folk music. Okay. For which, obviously, he would welcome seeing you. And I think that's everything, unless anybody has anything else. Thank you. Stay for tea and coffee.